In this slide, we are going to talk about organizational structures, organizational structure barriers. Organizational barriers can be ranging from physical items to individual and group attitudes. Yeah, there could be an extended employee absence or the takeover of an organization by the government. The organizational barriers refers to the hindrances in the flow of information among the employees that might result in a commercial failure of an organization. So there can be obstacles in the organization itself. That's what we are talking about. Now, attitudinal barriers. There are barriers that are related to the attitudes. Attitudinal barriers are behaviors or perceptions that prevent people from communicating effectively. Attitudinal barriers to communication may result from personality conflicts, poor management, resistance to change, or lack of motivation. There are certain barriers called perception barriers. Perceptual barriers are the mental blocks that people create because of the perception they have about certain people, situations, or events around them. So that is a perception barrier, how you understand others, how you understand certain situations. Based on that, there are certain barriers. If the senders and receivers' perceptions are not aligned, they are not in conformity with each other, then they are not, if they are not similar, then it can be a significant source of barrier in the communication process. So the perception of the senders and the receivers should be aligned, should be clear, should be similar. That is the idea here. Next one, barriers in classroom communication, out of place interference in the form of commercial and entertainment media. Excessive verbalism, using too many words resulting in confusion. Using slang words, locally used words. So there are certain words in a particular district, particular area. If you use it in another district, in another area, they may not understand. That's called a slang word. Then daydreaming, of course, students can indulge in daydreaming. They won't listen to anything. That's a barrier in classroom communication. That is why teachers should engage them, in an interesting manner. Otherwise, there will be daydreaming in the minds of the students. Limited perception, they are not open-minded. Limited perception. They know only certain things. Based on that, they begin to judge. Then communication will be a problem. Physical discomfort. The ventilator, air ventilators, fans, seating arrangements, etc. Physical discomfort and distrust. Speakers not having credibility. If the person is not honest and all, people may not listen to him. That's the idea here. Individual differences. There are individual differences in terms of attitudes, in terms of brain functions, in terms of physical activities, everything. So that also can become a barrier in classroom communication. Then language problem. If someone doesn't understand the language, normally it happens in English classes. Just because someone doesn't know the basic grammar or anything, he finds it difficult to understand the lectures in the college, English lectures in colleges, etc. Language problem. Then unintelligent non-verbal communication, using gestures or body movements or wrongly. When you have to show big, if you show the gesture very big like that, if you say, it's a confusion. Unintelligent non-verbal communication. The main purpose of evaluative listening is what? To accept or reject an idea given to the listener, to evaluate the speaker's credibility and personality. So both of the above is the right answer. The main purpose of evaluative listening is to accept or reject the idea given to the listener, at the same time to evaluate the speaker's credibility and personality. So that is the purpose of evaluative listening. Language is a system of symbols for effective communication. That is the right one. It is not instinctive development. It is given actually. Of course, we get language through others, especially small children get knowledge from their parents, from their relatives, in their childhood stage. Then medium to express experiences, medium to express experiences, medium or subject, they are not language. Language is a system of symbols for effective communication, the net question. All India Radio came into existence in which year? 1936. Such kind of things are asked actually. So better to know. All India Radio came into existence in 1936. All India Radio was renamed Akashvani in 1957. Right? I mean, All India Radio was renamed in Akashvani. It was renamed Akashvani in the year 1957. Commercial broadcasting introduced in India from November 1967. Commercial broadcasting was introduced in India from November 1967. These questions are important actually. Then radio broadcast was started in India when? 1927 itself. Actually not by the government, by private parties. Radio broadcast was started in India in 1927 by two private owned transmitters at Mumbai and Kolkata. Following factors may be considered in effective classroom communication. What are they? Two-way communication, interaction with students, effective feedback for efficient teaching, clarity in communication. The language should be simple, elegant, understandable for the receiver. Clarity requires a literary approach to language and familiarity with the language patterns of the learners. Development of motivation, use of teaching technology, teaching strategies and skills. So these are all factors, in effective classroom communication. There's so many like this. Even teaching strategies, how a teacher employs a particular strategy for the understanding of the student, that even is considered here. That even is a factor. Now, for effective classroom communication, what should one do? Overcoming distress. There is distress. It should be overcome. Then only there will be effective communication. Overcoming individual differences. Removing language barriers. Overcoming distracting stimuli, distracting situations. Solving the emotional factors. Clarity in message. A logical organization of the message. Verification of communication. Belief in written communication. So for effective classroom communication, we need all these things as effective methods to solve barriers in classroom communication. Different modes of communication. There are four: intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, group communication, and mass communication. We already seen that. Intrapersonal communication, we already seen that. It's a process through which one communicates with himself. This means the communication is within the self and to the self. Thinking, working out a problem, writing diaries come under this intrapersonal communication. Likewise, interpersonal communication, this emphasis is on speech, non-verbal forms of communication. So, interpersonal communication may be defined as a process of interaction between two people, generally face to face. For an example, interaction between teacher and student in the classroom, a telephone conversation, interview, all come under interpersonal communication. Now, difference between interpersonal communication and intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication takes place when a student, without the help from anyone, solves a mathematical problem. That is he himself talks to. He talks to himself, himself. And then he solves a problem. That is intrapersonal communication, without the help from others. Interpersonal communication occurs when his friend helps him in solving the same mathematical problem at every stage. That is interpersonal communication. Communication with oneself is known as, already it has come, intrapersonal communication. Communication with oneself is known as intrapersonal communication. Now, group communication. Group communication refers to the process of interaction within groups of people and by groups of people to others. The groups may be small or large. A family, a community meeting, all come under group communication. Mass communication, open air concert for thousands of people, the radio, postal system, all come under mass communication. Mass communication takes place when the communication is received by large number of people. So some questions. The function of mass communication of supplying information regarding the processes, issues, events and societal development is known as the function of mass communication supplying information. That is content, no? I mean information is content. So the content supply, that is a technical word here in communication technology. Before 1936, All India Radio was known as what? That is Indian Broadcasting Service. Before 1936 we are talking about, All India Radio was known as Indian Broadcasting Service. Which of the following pair is not correctly matched? Which of the following pair is not correctly matched? That is Aaj Talk, 20 hours news channel, FM stations radio, National Geographic Channel television, Veer Sangvi India Today. There's is a magazine, no? Journal, no? Magazine. So Veer Sangvi India Today magazine here we are talking about. Whereas other alternatives belong to TV category. So India Today magazine is connected with the Veer Sangvi, not the India Today channel. Yeah, so that is the idea here. So which of the following is not correctly matched? Aaj is a TV, 20 hours news channel. FM stereo, okay, we know that. No, FM stations are radio, correctly matched. National Geography Channel, television, right? Whereas Veer Sangvi is India Today, it's a magazine, so it is connected with the Veer Sangvi. So that is how you have to see. Recently they are asking all modern questions actually, something connected with the communication. There's a TV shows, even TV shows, and they are asking. So we have to be up to date, no other go. Now, which is the oldest soap opera telecast? Soap opera, some sort of entertainment on Sundays and all. It is podcast. So, what is the oldest soap opera? They asked in 2004. Kani Karki Bunaid Hamlock Saspi Kavi Bahuti. So, which is the right one? Hamlock. A soap opera is a radio or television serial dealing especially with the domestic situations and frequently characterized by melodrama or sentimentality, maybe family drama, no melodrama, family episodes. The world's largest running television soap opera is Coronation Street, which was first broadcast in ITV in 1960. The world's longest running television soap opera, Coronation Street, which was first broadcast in ITV in 1960. Which satellite channel uses the ad line "Knowing is everything"? People will have certain slogans for each TV or magazine, etc. That is what is asked. Which satellite channel uses the ad line "Knowing is everything"? That is BBC World. Knowing is everything. I mean, that is the slogan they are keeping it. BBC World. I think we need to know Star, Sony, Z, etc. Right? I think up to date information. So use the internet. Just go through the internet, just see satellite channels and their ad lines. Suppose you put in the internet, you will get all the videos as well as the ad line. In other words, the slogan. Which is the first made in India kids channel of television? That is a United Home Entertainment's Hungama TV. That is first made in India kids channel of television. So this even is asked, see, so that we need a more general knowledge with regard to communication. Which is the 24 hours English business news channel in India? That is CNBC. 24 hours, see, they are asking for news channel in India, English business. NTTV 24/7 also English TV, no doubt. But then English business news, you have to see the question and then answer. So that is CNBC. CNBC Awas is India's #1 business channel and an undisputed leader in business news and information for the last 14 years. They are talking now 23 for almost 30 years. The channel aims to educate, inform, inspire consumers to go beyond limitations with the practical tips on personal finance, investing, technology, consumer goods and capital markets. Which of the following pair is not correctly matched? As we already said it, no? N. Ram the Hindu, Pargadat Z News, Pranay Rai NTTV 24/4, Prabhu Chala Aaj Talk. Which of the following pair is not correctly matched? Pargadat is an Indian television channelist and columnist. He works as a consulting editor with the NTTV. So other things are, she is the NTTV. She is connected with the NTTV. Parka, no, the very famous lady who gives very good thoughts, and even the language is just fantastic. English language she will be having, and with a certain courage and a certain demeanor, certain dignity, she will be giving news items. She will be interacting with people. Parka, that is Z News. Z News is not there. Actually, she belongs to NTTV. That's why it is wrongly matched. You have to be extremely careful with regard to people and their, agencies or TV channels, etc. Because you deserve to know is the punchline used to by which one? Hindustan Times. Likewise, each newspaper is having, punchline. So we have to find out what is that through internet. So because you deserve to know is the punchline used to by Hindustan Times. Like that punchlines I am giving for some magazines, newspapers. The Times of India, what is the punchline? Let the truth prevail. That is for the Times of India. For the Business India, the magazine of the corporate world. That is the punchline. Business Today for managing tomorrow. That is the punchline they are giving. Business Standard, when you are sure. That is the punchline they are giving. Business Standard magazine. Chip, with regard to computer journal, no? That is chip, intelligent computing. Then Digit, your technology navigator. So Digit, no, there is one Digit which talks about technology, computer science, all these things. So for what is the punchline for the Digit? That is your technology navigator. For the business world, play the game. No? That is the punchline for Business World magazine. Filmfare, Romancing the Stars. Filmfare award and all we are talking about. No? That is the Romancing the Stars. The Indian Express, Journalism of Courage. That is the punchline. The Indian Express, Journalism of Courage. The Economic Times, The Power of Knowledge. The Economic Times, The Power of Knowledge. The Economist, Great Minds Think Alike. That is the punchline given by the magazine or the Economist. Hindustan Times, the newspaper. The name India Trust for News. The name India, that is the punchline they are giving. The Daily Telegraph, read a bestseller every day. The Daily Telegraph gives that that very important punchline as read a bestseller every day. Sorry. Then Malayalam Manorama, nobody delivers a Kerala better. That is the punchline given by Malayalam Manorama. Then Matru Bhumi, the national daily in Malayalam. Sports Star, the sportier tabloid. You must remember all these things. Better you go through the internet also for journals, TV channels, all these things. You can get it very nicely. What are the punchlines given by these different magazines, different newspapers, etc. Press Council of India is located at where? Delhi. The Press Council of India was first set up in the year 1966 by the Parliament on the recommendation of the first Press Commission with the object of preserving the freedom of the press and of maintaining and improving the standards of press in India. So the Press Council of India was first set up in the year 1966. Press Council of India is located at New Delhi. Press Council of India. That is at New Delhi. Adjusting the photo for publication by cutting is technically known as, that is different words of photoblading, that has different meaning. Photo cutting, photo adjustment, all these things. But the question is adjusting the photo for publication by cutting the edges. That is called photo cropping. Photocropping refers to the removal of the outer parts of an image to improve framing, accentuate subject matter, or change the aspect ratio. For this, photocropping is done. So, depending on the application, this may be performed on a physical photograph, art book, or film footage, or achieved digitally using image editing software. The term is common to the film, broadcasting, photographic, graphic design, printing industries. Photo editing software is used to manipulate in or enhance digital images. So there are different meanings I am just giving. Photo cropping means this refers to the removal of other outer parts of the image, or giving focus to the subject matter, or changing the aspect ratio. What are the types of photo editing? Photo editing, they will be asking any question. That's why I have taken pains to give different concepts. What are the types of photo editing? The more complex, advanced techniques include, in photo editing, clipping paths, extract a subject or element from an image. A particular part you need in the photo, then that is called a clipping path. The more complex, advanced techniques include clipping paths to extract a subject or element from an image. Portrait corrections, to fix the complexion of people in images. Portrait correction means brightening or darkening or giving colors, fix the complexion of people in images. Drop and reflection shadow, another type of photo editing. Drop and reflection shadow, create or adjust shadows, drop and reflection. So these are all different terms we are using in photography. Photography also is for communication. So that way this becomes the types of photo editing. They are asking anything. Photo bleeding. What do you mean by photo bleeding? Bleed is a printing term that is used to describe a document which has images or elements that touch the edge of the page, extending beyond the trim edge and leaving no white margin. See, when a document has a bleed, it must be printed on a larger sheet of paper and then trimmed down. Photo bleeding is that. It is used to describe document which has images or elements that touch the edge of the page, extending beyond the trim edge and leaving no white margin. So that is called photo. I think you understood this. The feedback of a message comes from audience, of course, not satellite media communicator. The feedback normally from the receiver, audience. Feedback is your audience response. It enables you to evaluate the effectiveness of your message. Collection of information in advance before designing communication strategy is known as what? Collection of information in advance before designing communication. That is called opinion poll. We get opinions from others regarding a particular thing. An opinion poll is a survey of public opinion from a particular sample. The aspect ratio of TV screen is very important. Nowadays they are asking this. The aspect ratio of TV screen is, what is that? 4:3. That means the picture is, what is the meaning of this? The picture is 4 units wide for every 3 units of height. So that is called aspect ratio of 4:3. The picture is 4 units wide for every 3 units of height. That is the understanding. The new HD TV standard is 16.9, 16:9, which is 16 units of width for every 9 units of height. I hope you understood this. These are all, we are talking about in TV screen. The standard TV has an aspect ratio of 4:3, not 0.5, 4:3. Ratio, we talk about ratio. So 4 units wide for every 3 units of height. That is standard TV. The new HD TV standard is 16:9, which is 16 units of width for every 9 units of height. Use of radio for higher education is based on the presumption of what? Enriching curriculum based instruction. Use of radio for higher education is based on the assumption or presumption of enhancing curriculum based instruction. Next one, which broadcasting system for TV is followed in India? That is a PAL, no? That is the broadcasting system. NTSC is there, Celcom, NTC, so many things are there. But in India, broadcasting system for TV, we are using PAL, PAL, short for phase alternating line. What is PAL? Phase alternating line is a color encoding system for analog television used in broadcast television systems in most countries. Certain parts of the world use NTSC, which stands for National Television System Committee, while other parts of the world use PAL, which is also for short alternating line. I think you must understand. What is the NTSC? That is a National Television System Committee. Yeah, maybe probably SACOM and NTSC may not be having any meaning here, perhaps. So the PAL and the NTSC we must know. The biggest news agency of India is, that is PTA. Press Trust of India is the biggest news agency of India. The Press Trust of India is the largest news agency in India. Headquarters is at New Delhi and it is a non-profit agency. PTA was registered in 1947 and started functioning in 1949. So PTA, the biggest news agency of India. United News of India is a multilingual news agency in India. It was founded in December 1959 as an English news agency. United News of India, UNI, is a multilingual news agency. That is what's given, no? In India. It was founded in December 1959 as an English news agency, United News of India. The non-aligned news agencies pool, that is a NANAP. The non-aligned news agencies pool was a corporation system among new agencies of non-aligned countries, which lasted from 1977 to mid-1990s. Samachar Bharti, This non-aligned news agencies pool, NANAP, was a corporation system among new news agency of non-aligned countries, which lasted from 1975 to mid-1990s. Samachar Bharati. Samachar means Seidhi, news. Samachar Bharati, SP, is a news agency based in India. Its headquarters is in Bhopal. Its main focus is the production of independent news and analysis about events and processes affecting economic, social and political development. Prasar Bharati was launched in the year 1997. Prasar Bharati was launched in the year 1997. Prasar Bharati is India's largest public broadcasting agency. It is an autonomous body established under the Prasar Bharati Act and came into existence on 23/11/1997. So Prasar Bharati is India's largest public broadcasting agency. It is an autonomous body established under the Prasar Bharati Act and came into existence 1997. So Prasar Bharati was launched in the 1997. All these things are very important. The objectives of public service broadcasting are achieved in terms of Prasar Bharati Act through All India Radio and Doordarshan as media units under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The objectives of public service broadcasting are achieved in terms of Prasar Bharati Act. And here we come across All India Radio and Doordarshan as media units under the Ministry of Information Broadcasting. Community radio is a type of radio service that caters to the interest of certainly local audiences. A community radio, a short crowd, in a specific area with a group of people. Community radio acts as a vehicle for the community and voluntary sector civil society agencies, NGOs and citizens to work together to promote community development. Orkut is a part of what? Interpersonal communication. Orkut is a part of interpersonal communication. It's an instrument like the social networking website actually. This is what was used to by this Pakistanis to attack Taj Hotel, and they entered through this India Gate. You know the history in 2000. 11 something, 2011 or before that even. So Orkut was a social networking website owned and operated by Google. The service was designed to help users meet new and old friends and maintain existing relationships. So during the attacks of India, from Pakistan through the Bombay Gate, what is that called? Gateway of India, Gate of India, India Gate, So that at that time this Orkut was used as a social networking website to contact their friends. Match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer using the codes given below. So 2006 they asked Amrita Sergil, that is 3, painting. She is associated with painting. T. Swaminathan Pillai, that is flute. Bhimsen Joshi, that is a classical song. Padma Subramaniam Bharatanatyam, that is the 4th. So if you just go and see, you can easily guess also. Out of 2, A and B you can guess and then find out. Of course, fourth option is there in both A and B. But anyhow, if we must know the people and what they are famous for, everything we must know. This, some of the names, all the Indians may not know. But then it's a general knowledge, common knowledge, which we are expected to know perhaps in different fields. Amrita Sergil, that is painting. Swaminathan Pillai, flute. Bhimsen Joshi, that is classical song. Padma Subramaniam Bharatanatyam we know. That is A option is the correct one. Which is not correct in latest communication award? Salman Rushdie, Booker's Prize, July 20, 2008, is it true? Dilip Sanghavi, Business Standard CEO Award, July 22, 2008. Tapan Sinha, Tata Sahib Phalke Award, July 2028. Now latest award they will be asking. See, this is before 2010. But anyhow, questions of this type are coming, you must know. Gautam Ghosh, Ocean's Lifetime Achievement Award, July 11, 2008. Salman Rushdie's works have been shortlisted for the Booker Prize 5 times in 1981 for Midnight's Children, and 1983 for Shame, 1988 for Satanic Verses, 1995 for The Moon's Last Sigh, 2019 for Quixote. In 1981 he was an award and prize, but certainly the Booker's prize, it is not there. Okay, shortlisted for the Booker Prize 5 times. So here the 2008 is wrong, that is the idea here. See, they have given other things okay, but then 2008, the year was not correct. That much we must know probably. We must know some general knowledge about all these things. Especially in communication, they are asking such modern questions. Next one, which is not 24 hours news channel? NTTV 25/4 is a 24 hours news channel. Z News 24 hours news channel. Aaj Talk, that is 24 hours news channel. But Lok Sabha channel only when the Lok Sabha is conducted, isn't it? When it is in proceeding, we will have Lok Sabha channel. So Lok Sabha television is a parliament channel mandated to telecast live the proceedings of the Lok Sabha, the House of the People of the Indian Parliament. This is not a 24 hours news channel. The main objective of FM station in radio is what? What is the main objective they are asking? Out of the four, which is the right one? Entertainment, information and interaction. All three things are there. Tourism, how can you talk about tourism? How can you talk about tourism? No? Only entertainment, no. So the correct answer will be, we can very well guess and then write. Entertainment, certainly, of course. Information, news should be given. Then interaction also is possible. So many interviews are happening in FM station. Even the rural people are able to speak so much nicely, no? Right. So the news is not permitted on private FM. Nationally, many of the current FM players, including the Times of India, Hindustan Times, Midday and BBC, are essentially newspaper chains or media, and they are making a strong pitch for news on this FM station. Private FM stations are allowed to rebroadcast news from All India Radio as long as they do so without any change. Private stations are allowed to rebroadcast news from All India Radio, but then they should not have any change as such. Simply they should broadcast as it is. So that is the idea here. Communication becomes circular when the decoder becomes an encoder. So what is the right answer? When the decoder becomes encoder, it is cyclic. You see that center, message, receiver, decoding, feedback. It is a cyclic. Like that. The decoder, becomes an encoder finally. The receiver becomes an sender also, because he gives his reaction, he gives his response. That is the idea here. That is called circular. Communication becomes circular. Center to receiver, then receiver to sender also. So that way it is circular. So the decoder becomes the encoder. The receiver becomes the sender. That is the idea here. While communicating, the sender and receiver trade roles back and forth in a circular pattern. This allows both parties to contribute equally and share their feedback, which acts as confirmation that the message has been received and decoded. In communication, a major barrier to reception of message is audience attitude. In communication, a major barrier to reception of message is attitude of the audience, how they receive it, whether they like it, whether they don't like it, they hate it. All these things matters. Attitude. So a major barrier to reception of message is attitude, audience attitude, not audience knowledge, education, nothing to do with that. Now, a negative attitude towards people is a major barrier in communication. Postmodernism is associated with what? Magazines, radio, television, newspapers. Postmodernism, because they can give the most modern views, even unconventional views. That can be done through newspapers so easily. Of course, others also can give, yes, but they have limitations. Whereas the newspapers will give, more, more with regard to this postmodernism ideas. People can write, imagine new ideas and then write in newspapers. Common targets of postmodernism and critical theory include universalist notions of objective reality, morality, truth, human nature, reason, language, and social progress. So, common targets could be easily written in newspapers. That is the idea here. Not in magazine, radio, television. That is very much, short-lived. At the moment they are just showing it. Whereas a postmodernism at all is a great area, is a deep area. So common targets could be easily written. That's the idea here. Then, postmodern literature characteristic, intertextuality, metafictions. Postmodernism is all about the connection between texts, including the various ways in which one text references another. From this perspective, intertextuality is unavoidable. Postmodernism is all about the connection between texts. So that is the idea here, intertextuality. Metafiction means what? Metafiction occurs in fictional stories when the story examines the elements of fiction itself. So when the story examines the elements of fiction itself, that becomes a metafiction. For example, a story that explores how stories are made by commenting on character types, how plots are formed, and other aspects of storytelling is engaged in metafiction. There are two other terms, pastiche and then parody, pastiche. What is pastiche? Pastiche is an artistic work in a style that imitates that of another work, artist or period. I mean, you are imitating another's work, then that is pastiche, artistic work, but that is called a pastiche. When you are imitating another's work, another work, artist or period. Most often a homage or parody of the source. What is the difference between parody and pastiche? Most often a homage or parody of the source. That is the idea here. Pastiche. What is the difference between parody and pastiche? Pastiche is a work of art, drama, literature, music or architecture that imitates the work of a previous artist, while parody is a work or performance that imitates another work or performance with ridicule or irony in the same age. That is the idea here. So the pastiche is a work of art, then parody is a work or performance that imitates another work. That's very important. Didactic communication is what? Interpersonal, I have put it. Intrapersonal, interpersonal, organizational, relational. Didactic method provides students with the required theoretical knowledge. See, it talks about the didactic communication is nothing but theoretical knowledge. So in teaching, that is didactic communication. Didactic or didactic method provides students with the required theoretical knowledge. It is an effective method used to teach students who are unable to organize their work and depend on the teachers for instruction. For those who are unable to organize their work with the teacher, normally this method becomes very effective. It depends on the teachers for instruction, and they depend on the teachers because theory is not so easy to understand. So theoretical knowledge is given by the teachers. He clarifies their doubts. He makes it very clear to them. Didactic method. Okay, this is about theoretical knowledge. It is also used to teach basic skills of reading and writing. Media that exists in an interconnected series of communication. Media that exists in an interconnected series of communication. Points are referred to as network media. Media that exists in an interconnected series of communication. That is called a network media. Not connecting media, nodal media, multimedia. Network media means decentralized forms of mass communication via which individuals and groups can actively contribute to sharing and shaping a universe of media content. That is networked media. Decentralized forms of mass communication via which individuals and groups can actively contribute to sharing and shaping a universe of media content. The information function of mass communication is described as what? There are four alternatives. The information function of mass communication is described as what? Diffusion, publicity, surveillance or diversion. So the information function of mass communication is described as surveillance because it becomes one of the four functions of mass communication. The four functions of mass communication are surveillance, correlation, cultural transformation and entertainment. The four functions of mass communication are surveillance, correlation, cultural transmission and entertainment. So what do you mean by surveillance? Surveillance is a function. Surveillance is a function of mass communication. It is to tell you about what is happening around the world and deliver that information to you. That is surveillance. So four functions of mass communication. One of the four functions is surveillance. Surveillance function of mass communication is to tell you about what is happening around the world and deliver what information to you. Surveillance refers to coverage of a wide range of important topics that impact society. Mass communication can be identified through the following characteristics. There is a wide and vast area, heterogeneous audience. That means different age groups. That is a heterogeneous audience, or audience with a different taste, different maturity. Heterogeneous audience. All are put together. That is called a heterogeneous audience. Then distance between source and destination. So there is a distance between source and destination. People are listening to you, but lakhs of people are there and you are speaking. So there is a distance between source and destination in mass communication of this type. No question of discrimination, which is right, which should come first, there is no discrimination. There is no question at all, because simply people are passively listening to you, that's all. Professional communication. It becomes a mass communication is a professional communication. Absence of feedback. There shouldn't be any feedback at all. Mass communication. There is no chance also. Thousands of people, 1 lakh people, 2 lakh people are watching you or seeing you on the stage, but there is an absence of it. They cannot be giving feedback to you immediately. Then intermediary channels. Another characteristic, intermediary channels. Then public message. It becomes a public message. An example of asynchronous medium is newspaper. Asynchronous medium, we know, a communication medium that does not require that both parties are present. Both parties need not be present at the same time, in the same space. For example, email. Two persons are not very near, but email is sent, message is sent. That is a good example of asynchronous medium. Other examples are file transfer, email, and the World Wide Web. These are all asynchronous medium. At any time you go and then watch videos given by somebody. So asynchronous medium. Then synchronous medium communication. Synchronous communication may be defined as a real-time communication between the people. Examples include face-to-face or phone communication. In communication, connotative words are what? Connotative words means cultural. Mostly the connotative words, they are specific to one's group, and that becomes cultural. Words carry cultural and emotional associations and meanings. In addition to their literal meanings or denotations. For example, blue is a color, but it is also a word used to describe a feeling of sadness, as in she is feeling blue. There is a sentence called she is feeling blue. The blue means, is it a color? No. It is a word to describe a particular mood, a mood of sadness, a feeling of sadness. So connotations can be either positive, negative, or neutral. That's very important. Connotative words. It is asked in one of the NET exams. So the connotative words means what? So it can be either positive, negative, or natural. Words carry cultural and emotional association. Connotative words are of this type. A message beneath a message is labeled as subtext. A message beneath a message. Or message, if you analyze that, another message will be there under it. So that way, a message beneath a message is labeled as what is that? Subtext. That is called a subtext. What is a subtext? It is unspoken between people in the midst of an exchange. It is unspoken between people in the midst of an exchange. That is subtext. Subtext is communicated by both small and large gestures with the smiles, glances, hand movements, vocal tone, and body positions. Subtext feels innate, but it is not learned. It can make or break any exchange. Subtext feels innate. Subtext feels innate. It is learned. It can make or break any exchange. The text embedding endpoint transforms text into a numerical representation and embedding of the text is semantic meaning. If two words documents have a similar embedding, they are semantically similar. The text embedding endpoint transforms text into a numerical representation. If two words or documents have similar embedding, they are similarly semantically similar. Internal text examples include formal organizational meetings, presentations, workshops, memos, and reports. Most official business is conducted through these formal channels. So internal text is there. Intertext, it is the interrelationship between text, especially works of literature, the way that similar and unrelated texts influence, reflect, are different from each other. The intertextuality between two novels with the same setting. Sorry, I think I am tired. The internship between text, especially works of literature, the way that similar or related texts influence, reflect, or differ from each other. So with this thing we will finish that, then we follow, we proceed in the next area, and then we will fuse them together. In analog mass communication, stories are static, not dynamic. Analog means analog mass communication is a one-way process of transferring message to the receiver or audience. Here the audience is large, so they utilize analog media which was originally used in audio recording, that was analogous to the count it was recreating. So analog mass communication, it is very recent in a way. It was analogous to the count it was recreating. Here the content can be only linear and static, not dynamic. So analog mass communication stories are static, only linear. So that we have to understand. With this we have finished this. I think we continue in the next slide.